speaker, Ms. Leonie Vaas, Head of Sustainability and Innovation at Haley's Fabric PLC, Sri Lanka. She has 12 years of experience in the textile industry, including 10 years in both R&D and production in garment dyeing and washing, and she will be sharing her insights on the topic ESG approach in manufacturing sector, fashion industry. Over to you, Ms. Vaas.
So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. So greetings from Sri Lanka. So again, I would like to thank you very much for having me on the Global Sustainable Business Summit 2023. And so I have been given the opportunity to discuss on the environment and social impact in the textile industry, textile and fashion industry, and the importance of the ESG approach in the fashion industry. So let me begin with a quote from Mahatma Gandhi. There is no beauty in the finest cloth if it makes hunger and unhappiness. Having said that, the fashion industry is a huge business all around the world because of clothing, and the demand for new fancy and stylish clothing is never ending. We know that the demand for new fancy and styling clothing, that is never ending. We all are using new clothes and new fashions and all. So at the other hand, in the international level, in the international market, many people are working and earning through this field. So over the past 20 years, the cost of clothing has decreased. And also we all know that we have 5 times as many garments as our grandparents had. I think we all agreed with that, because we have many garments than our grandparents had, even our parents had, right? So, so this continuous accumulation of cheap garment, that is only possible because of constantly reduction of the production cost. So this is seriously consequences on our health, our planet, and also on our garment workers' lives. So let us now see some of the environmental and social impacts from the textile industry. So the global warming, air pollution, and so water pollution, land pollution and biodiversity loss, marine pollution, and social pollutions are some of the consequences because of this textile and fashion industry. So the fashion industry is the second largest polluter in the world. So that is just after the oil industry. So, and the environment damage is increasing as the industry grows. So according to the World Bank, they have mentioned that the fashion industry, this is responsible for 10% of annual global carbon emissions. And which is, when we comparing that emission, which is more than all international flights and maritime shipping combined. So it's more than that. So we can see the impact from the fashion industry. And also, not only that, the textiles are the 4th highest pressure category for the use of primary resources and water. So that is after food, housing, and transportation. And also, so we should know this, the textile industry consumes approximately 215 trillion liters of water per year. This is not only the water contaminated with chemicals and cleansing agents and also microfibers. Those are being released in the ocean. And when considering the social impact, the social sustainability, there are a lot of impacts, including working hours, structure, the diversity in leadership, wages, job security, gender discrimination, gender and race discrimination is there, safe and hygienic work conditions are there, and also supply chain management. Even the supply chain management also, we can have these problems. So because of this, considering all the challenges and impact in the fashion and textile industry, the industry itself, they move towards ESG approach. We all know that ESG, environment, social and governance, this is a framework designed for the organization and countries to assess how far they are with their sustainability goals. So it is a collection of non-financial, especially non-financial factors that evaluates an organization's governance mechanism and its competence to effectively manage its environment, social and governance impacts. So most of the textile companies, textile and apparel industry, now they're raising their ESG initiatives in response to growing government action and also rising pressure from consumers, because most of the customers, most of the buyers, they are from Europe and North America and from those areas. So they are very keen on these areas. So the rising pressure from consumers and investors across the globe, because of that, the manufacturer, the textile manufacturer and the garment manufacturer should follow this ESG framework, and they have to follow all the guidelines under ESG approach. So having said that, now let's see further on negative impacts for environment sustainability and what are the solutions, what we can do to eliminate or reduce these effects to the environment. So as I mentioned you earlier, the fashion industry accounts like around 5 to 10 of global greenhouse gas emissions, and these 70 billion oil barrels are used every year to produce polyester. This is basically from production to the production to packing to transportation for all the life cycle. Throughout the life cycle, we can see the emissions are there. The emissions, the total 5 to 10 emissions, including all the life cycle areas, all sectors in this during the manufacturing and production and transportation. So, and also we know the synthetic fibers such as polyester and nylon, these are used in the majority of our clothes. So those are made from fossil fuels. And this making production much more energy intensive than with the natural fibers. So what we can do to reduce this issue? So we can choose natural fibers. And also we can buy better quality garments. We can mend clothes, and also we can buy clothes made in countries powered by more renewable energies. We can move, the production facilities can move to the renewable energies such as solar installation and all. We can go to the biomass boilers for the steam generation. So likewise, we can go to the renewable energies, and we can buy clothes made out of the countries powered by more renewable energy. And when it comes to the water pollution, in most of the countries in which garments are produced, we know that the untreated toxic wastewater from textile factories are dumped directly into the rivers. So 20% of the industrial water pollution that is also comes from the textile treatment and dyes. And we know that the wastewater, the textile waste contains a lot of toxic substances such as lead, mercury. There are a lot more toxic substances are there. So these are extremely harmful to the aquatic life, especially to the aquatic life and the health of millions of people living by those river banks. The contaminations are also, finally, it's reached sea and eventually spread around the globe. So this is also one of the consequences because of this industry. So another major issue, major source of water contamination is the use of fertilizer for cotton production. We know for the cotton materials, the cotton production, during the cotton production, there are a lot of water contaminations. The chemical and water contamination is there. So which is heavily pollute runoff waters and evaporation waters. And apart from that, the water consumption is also a major environmental impact, so we should know this. To produce one cotton t-shirt, it requires 2,700 liters of water, which is equal to the amount one person would drink in 2.5 years. So imagine 2,700 liters of water to produce single t-shirt, which is equal to the amount one person would drink in 2.5 years. This is also a major issue, a major environmental impact in the industry. So to reduce this, what can we do? We can use organic fibers and natural fibers. And also we can, to reduce the water pollution, we can use quality chemicals, and also we can natural dyes. We can use natural dyes instead of synthetic dyes. And then microfiber contamination. So we know 190,000 tons of textile microplastic fibers are going into the oceans each year. Every time we wash a synthetic garment, so as an example, polyester garment or a nylon garment, about around 700,000 individual microfibers are released into the water. So it's huge. So making their way, finally it goes to the ocean. And scientists, they have discovered that the small aquatic organisms ingest those microfibers, and these are then eaten by small fish, and which are later eaten by bigger fish, introducing plastic into our food chain. So finally end up with our food chain. So what can we do about to reduce this issue? So we can choose natural or semi-synthetic fibers. So we can wash clothes only when you need to. And also wash clothes at a lower temperature. So we can reduce that microfiber issue. We can even like around the temperature 30 to 35 Celsius degrees. If we can use that, we can reduce this issue during washing. And the next issue is the waste generation. This is also another major challenge in the textile industry. So you all can see now the equivalent of one garbage truck of textile is wasted every second. So clothing has clearly become disposable. As a result, we generate more and more textile waste. So now let's get an example. Let's take a family in Europe. They throws away an average of 11 kilograms of clothing each year. So out of the textile, out of the clothing and out of all our apparels, garments, only 15% is recycled or donated, and the rest, the 85%, that goes to directly goes to the landfill or incinerator. Again, it's a pollution. Landfill or the incineration, both, it's a pollution. So and also we know that this synthetic fibers such as polyester, those are plastic fibers, polyester. So therefore non-biodegradable, and also this take up to 200 years, around 200 or more than 200 years to decompose. So synthetic fibers are used, most of the times we are using synthetic fibers. So 69%, generally 69% of our clothing that is from synthetic fibers. So it will take 200 to 200 plus years for the decomposition. It's an environmental impact. So how can we reduce these issues? Again, we can use most of the time, if we can switch to the natural fibers or semi-synthetic fibers, we can reduce this issue. And also we can buy less and buy better quality, and also we can recycle our garments. And chemicals, that is also one of the major components in our clothes. So this is basically during the fiber production, dyeing, bleaching, and wet processing of each of garments, we use chemicals. So the heavy use of chemicals in cotton farming, as I mentioned you earlier, that again it's an issue. And also we should Now here, thousands of people die for cancer and miscarriages every year as a result of chemicals sprayed on cotton. And again, a large portion of all chemical produced worldwide are used for the textile industry. So here actually to reduce this issue, to minimize this issue, as a textile manufacturer or an apparel garment manufacturer, we should make sure that we are using good quality chemicals. We can't use any toxic chemicals to our production. So we can choose organic fibers, we can choose sustainable brands, and also as a consumer, as a manufacturer, we should know about the quality of the standards. There are a lot of standards in the textile industry. One is zero discharge of hazardous chemical is one of the standard in the textile industry. So we have to, because of this issue, they have given us a couple of standards. So we have to make sure that we are not using any kind of hazardous chemicals as a manufacturer. So as a consumer, even we can wash new clothes before using them for the first time. So from that, we can eliminate the contamination to the skin or mainly to the skin. We can eliminate that issue. And also we can look at the tag and we can make sure that the garments with certification labels, the controlling chemical content such as Ocotex, GOTS, and Blue Sign or ZDHC. Likewise, as I mentioned you earlier, there are a lot of chemical standards now in the market and in the manufacturing, the textile manufacturing industry. So we can have those, we can make sure that we are taking this kind of garments because most of the time they include these certifications and they include these labels in the tag. So we can have a look on the tag and we can choose wisely. And also the rainforest, the biodiversity issue, this thing. This is every year, thousands of hectares of endangered and ancient forest, those are cut down and replaced by plantations of trees, which is used to make wood-based fabrics such as rayon, viscose, and modal. Now you all can see 200 million trees are cut down each year to make clothes, and 30% of rayon and viscose that is coming from endangered and ancient forest. 6% of the global apparel industry use forest-based fabrics. This is a threat for the rainforest and the biodiversity. So now even we can, as a producer, as a manufacturer, we can reduce this kind of lyocell, rayon or modal or viscose, and instead of that we can have this the natural fibers instead of this kind of wood-based fabric. So so how to reduce the fashion, the environmental impact in the fashion industry? Those are some of the tips, I mean, some of the to reduce the impact. So we can buy less and we can buy clothes from sustainable brands. We can always, we can check the brand, we can check the type of the fabric, we can check the fiber composition, we can always use natural fibers, we can always use natural dyes. We can, when we buying that, we can consider that points as well. And also we can buy second hand, or we can rent clothing, and also buy better quality ones, and think twice before throwing or throwing out your clothes. We can do these small things. If we can implement, if we can have these small things, we can even we can contribute to reduce the environment impact from the fashion industry, I mean, as a consumer. And those are some of the environmental impacts, because with the time constraint, I have included a few areas of the environmental impacts. And when it comes to the social impact, we should keep in mind that the fashion industry, this also has been criticized for its negative social impacts against many sustainable development goals of 2030 agenda, including decent work and economic growth, gender equity, and reduce inequalities. So these are some of the examples for the health and safety issues which we have faced during last decade in the textile manufacturing industry. One is 140 people were killed in a fire at Bangladesh, 2013, and 230 workers died and 279 were injured in 2021 in the textile and garment industry. And the major this is the Rana Plaza that was a strategy because of the collapse of the Rana Plaza in 2013, that is killing 1,134 garment workers in Dhaka, Bangladesh. This is unacceptable working conditions of the whole fashion industry to the world. So employees usually work with no ventilation, breathing in toxic substances, inhaling fiber dust or blasted sand in unsafe buildings. Accidents, fires, injuries, and diseases are very frequent occurrence on the textile production sites. So on top of that, a lot of workers regularly face verbal and physical abuse. In some cases, when they fail to meet their daily targets, they're insulted. Or not allowed to drink water. They don't have time because they have to meet their targets. So working hours, when it comes to the working hours, normally garment workers, they're forced to work 14 to 16 hours a day, 7 days a week. During peak seasons, they may work until 2 to 3 a.m. to meet the fashion brand's deadline. So those are the issues we had in this industry. Those are the issues we had, right? And also the child labor and forced labor. 160 million children in the world are forced to work, and because the fashion industry requires low skilled labor. Child labor is particularly common in this industry. So, and 1 million people are forced to leave regular jobs, especially in the Uzbekistan, in the cotton industry, the cotton cultivation industry. 1 million people are forced to leave regular jobs and pick cottons in the Uzbekistan. And children were mobilized and taken out of the school to harvest cotton in Uzbekistan. Still this issue, the Uzbekistan issue is still there. The earlier ones, actually, we had that issue, but now as a solution for social sustainability, because as I mentioned you earlier, most of the apparel and textile manufacturers are working with world-renowned brands. So they are very keen on these sustainable areas. They are very keen on not only the environmental impact, the social impact as well. They are very keen on those areas. So because of that, we had to go to that sustainable, for the solutions for these social issues as well. So in this case, actually, to reduce these issues, now the textile industry is following social compliance. So social compliance, that is, refers to how a business protect the health and safety of their employees and supply and distribution chain. So by complying to international social compliance standards, so we can improve, the manufacturer can improve the brand reputation among consumers and competitors. They can boost productivity. They can improve the health and hazardous, they can reduce the health hazards in the workplace. And also there is another social, there is another solution. We call it code of conduct, because in the textile industry, we are following this code of conduct. This is including freedom of association, the right to organize, the right to collective bargaining, and the wage. We can talk about the wage. Even we can we can talk about our soft working hours, health and safety of the work condition, and no discrimination, no forced labor and child labor. So those are the things in the code of conduct. And hope you all got an idea about negative impacts of the textile industry. So let me give you some ESG approaches and some of our success stories. Now we have up to now we talk about the negative impact, environment and social impact in the textile industry. But I'm representing Haley's Fabric Sri Lanka, the largest fabric manufacturer in Sri Lanka. So let me share some of the success stories we have taken at Haley's Fabric to improve the environment and social sustainability. I'm not going to talk about the governance, even though we are following in our ESG framework. We are following all the 3 dimensions: environment, social, and governance. I'm not going to talk about the governance. So let me more talk into the environment side. So we are mainly working with world-renowned brands such as Victoria's Secret, Nike, PVH, Decathlon, and Intimissimi. And this is our environment strategy, because we are following all the global agenda, especially the 2030 agenda, especially the Sustainable Development Goals, 17 Sustainable Development Goals. So based on that, we have created our own ESG framework. Under ESG framework, this is our environment sustainability. This is our strategy for to go to the 2030, to achieve the 2030 agenda. So under that, we have the biodiversity conservation, we have materials and waste management, we have chemical management, we have sustainable innovations, we have energy and emission management, and also water management. So we have in here, we referred some of the SDG goals. You can see SDG number 15, 7, 13, 6, 14, 9, and 12. We are following all these areas under environment sustainability. So the main effort to reduce the carbon dioxide emission or the global warming. So for that, actually, here you can see this is our factory, and so we have the largest solar roof in Sri Lanka. So it is like around 9,000 solar panels across 18,000 square meters. And from this, actually, we reduce our emissions. From this, the reduction is like around 4,065 total carbon dioxide equivalent. And also, we have implemented ISO 50,000 because we know that because we have realized that we should save energy and should follow a proper energy management system by setting benchmarks and methodical approaches to reduce the global warming. So we have achieved this ISO 50,001, and also to get the scientific approach, we all know that the science-based target initiatives aligning with the Paris Agreement. So we have committed for the science-based target initiatives, as well as to limiting the global temperature rising below 1.5 Celsius degrees. And so with all these efforts, our renewable energy percentage is like around 71%. And we cover SDG number 7, affordable and clean energy, and SDG number 13, climate action, by these projects. And when it comes to the water conservation, as I mentioned to you earlier, we all know that the textile manufacturing is one of the main input material is water. So our daily water consumption is around 5,000 cubic meters. So that is 5 million liters, 5,000 cubic meters per day. So in our facility, we maintain effluent treatment plant, which can cater again, it's 5,000 cubic meters per day. We are following 3 main purification methods: mechanical treatment, biological treatment, and chemical treatment. And we make sure to align with all the national, Sri Lankan national, and all the international testing parameters in the discharge of the wastewater. And also we are a member of CEO Water Mandate. Again, it's part of United Nations Global Compact. And here we are mainly we have 6 areas to be considered: direct operations, supply chain, collective actions, and community engagement. For transparency, even for the transparency, we calculate our water footprint. Not only the water footprint, we do calculate our carbon footprint as well, because we have to disclose that the carbon and water footprint both in our annual report. So we have that transparency. And also we are a part of, as I mentioned you earlier, we are a part of zero discharge of hazardous chemical.